Hello, voice raisers. My name is Marcia, and I'm part of a local poetry group called Rhyme and Chat, where we rhyme and then we chat. Welcome to another episode of Raise Your Voice. Today, we get to meet an author named Brooks and a poet named Rachel, who both live right here in the Tennessee Valley. They both create stories with their words and raise their voices in different ways. As we listen in on a conversation between Brooks the author and Rachel the poet, listen for the main theme that runs through both of their writings. Notice how they are able to express their thoughts on the same theme in their own unique way. Think on how you can create your own writing on this topic. Let's listen in as they raise their voice. Hi, Brooks. I'm so glad you were able to come.
I'm so glad to be
and
here.
Chat with me today.
Yes.
So let's just jump right in. I'm excited to hear about your book. So tell us about what you have today.
Well, I brought my debut novel, My 7th Grade Life in Tights, and this book right here is all about a middle school student named Dillon who loves to dance, except he is really bad at dancing. So he gets the chance to start taking some classes at a local studio. His crew, his dance crew, doesn't really think that that's the best idea because they're kind of anti-studio because of something that happened with them. And of course that causes a lot of drama. So he starts to learn some new dance moves with some new dancers, kind of divides the friend group a little bit, and he's got to make a big decision which direction he wants to go. So a quick pitch of the book, it's football, it's dancing, and just a lot of humor.
A lot of humor. I can imagine that being young and trying to do something new and different. Where does football come into the play?
So he also plays football. And just like I did in middle school, I was, again, really, really bad at football. I had no idea how to play at all, but I thought that I needed to play because where we grew up in this small little town, it was all just you either lived on a farm or you played football. And I lived on a farm already, but I thought, I need to play football as well. So I tried out for the team. It was a middle school team, so I made it. But it was the worst experience of my life. I was just so bad at football. I wanted to be good because my brother was really good. But yeah, I have some horror stories of the year I played football. So
I know how that is. Was your brother older?
He was.
I have an older sister who was great at everything, but I was not. Yeah, and so I know how it feels to be in that shadow and trying to work through that. So do you have an excerpt that you want to share? We would love to dive into that.
Yes. So the excerpt that I chose in this story, Dillon is now working with a brand new dancer who's kind of like the mortal enemy of one of his dance crewmates. And she has taught him this brand new routine full of moves pulled right out of her studio, right out of her, her pocket of all these moves that her teachers have taught her. And he's trying these moves, but everything he's doing just doesn't seem really to fit because he came up with his own style when he first started dancing, which was called Ninja Freestyle, which was actually a dance style that I came up with when I was in middle school. It incorporates kicks, punches, turns, jumps, as many arm flails, and erratic movements as possible, just feeling the music. It's not really any style at all. It's just made up. But he lives and breathes dancing. And so the more he's doing these moves, which are, very, common moves, routine moves, practiced moves, he's feeling like that's not the way he wants to dance. So this right here is where he's about to begin practicing again. He's feeling a little bit of he's not really feeling it. So Sarah or no Sarah, I needed to practice. The competition was Saturday and I was still falling out of my turns a little. I pulled up the snore fest of a song I'd been practicing and stood up. I took a deep breath and pushed off the ground, toes like knife points. 2 stiff-legged steps and into a retiré to begin my pirouette. I added in an extra spin, spotting both times. My body felt weird. The technique was getting there, but it was like I was dancing in a shell, just riding along while someone else pushed me all around the floor. I ended my turn, reaching out to the left, then to the right. My left leg flew up behind me, and my next move was to bring it back down and roll to the floor. But I didn't. I couldn't. My body was refusing. So I swung my leg forward into a teeth-shattering front kick. I pulled 2 imaginary swords from my belt, spinning across the room. Punches, kicks, uppercuts. Every move that had been bottled up inside me for weeks was tearing down the wall of technique I'd been using to hold it back. I was a ninja, slicing my way through hordes of monsters, saving the universe from evil, and I couldn't stop. When the music faded out, I stood there, sweat dripping off my nose. My chest ached from breathing so hard. Something was wrong. Ninja freestyle wasn't real. It wasn't dancing. Real dancers danced real styles, but that didn't explain why it still felt so good to do.
That was intense. Like I saw him breaking out of what he thought he was supposed to do and just cracking that shell.
Exactly.
How did you feel when you were writing it to actually write about a struggle that you went through? How was that process?
Initially it was kind of tough, but the more I started writing about his struggle, Dillon's struggle, and the need for him to kind of express himself the way he wanted to express himself versus the way his family wanted him to express himself or his friends expected him to express themselves or classmates, it kind of became cathartic. It kind of became like this, almost like a therapeutic way of like, realizing that, sometimes, you do have to shrug off these expectations of other people and just kind of go with your gut, go with what you feel is the right thing to do. And when I was writing that, I was writing from experience because I did have a dance crew in 6th grade.
I heard you say flailing. Do that one more time when you say flailing.
Just flailing.
I can see you too, Brooks, just flailing.
I'm a great flailer. I mean, I'm not going to get up and dance right now unless y'all want me to. You do? Okay. No, I'm not going to. But I'm really great at just flailing. I don't have many dance moves that I really can pull out, but, just moving to music has always been something I'd love to do. So, just when my dad found out that I had started a dance crew, he was very like, what are you doing? We don't do this. You don't do that kind of thing. My brother obviously made fun of me relentlessly. And, writing about Dillon kind of going through that it was nice to kind of put a lot of that pressure and that frustration that I felt as a kid into this character, because it was kind of like letting go of that finally, saying, you know what? He's feeling the same thing I'm feeling. I don't need to feel that way. I want to do what I feel like I need to do. I want to do what makes me happy, even though it's not something that parents, friends, classmates, coworkers think like, well, that's not what you do as a 40-something-year-old man working in a school. You
That's
don't
okay, though.
dance up and down the halls. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Oh, I do. I dance horribly up and down the halls.
And it's important.
Absolutely.
When you feel like flailing,
you flail.
You flail.
Right. And if you can do more than flail, do more than flail.
Do more than flail. I agree, because sometimes it is better to be happy than to be popular.
There we go.
I wrote a poem kind of along the same lines. And if it's okay, I would like to share.
I would love to hear you read this.
All right. It's entitled Be by Rachel. Run as fast as you please. Wind kisses wipe away frowned wrinkles. Skip as often as you can. Regulates your heartbeat. You are cool, calm, and collective. Make mud pies when weather permits and serve them to your imaginary diner. Laugh until your belly hurts. Tears of joy are hydration for the soul. Hum your favorite song. Snap your fingers and bob your head. You are a rainbow, colors of happiness, hues of love. Yell at the sun and shout at the moon. Speak your truths. Tell your story and narrate your version. You have a perspective worth sharing. Count your steps. Strut smooth strides and side slides. Walk it out and keep the dust off of your shoulders. Pave your road with jewels. Pause, glance in the mirror and adjust your crown. Knowing to love yourself is natural. Liking who you are takes time. Be kind to yourself. Be your first best friend and be fearless and free, because liking who you are takes time.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
I love that so much. So
Thank you.
much of this speaks to me. Personally, can I share my favorite line?
Yes, please.
And then I would love to ask you a couple of questions about this.
Okay, yes.
So, laugh until your belly hurts. Tears of joy are hydration for the soul.
Yes.
That's amazing. I mean, everything on here is amazing, but that right there speaks to me. I don't know. It's one of the things that I try to teach my students that, and it's so hard in middle school. Being a middle school librarian, you see kids are constantly trying on different personalities, different versions of themselves to see what fits.
Like clothes and hairstyles.
Exactly. And, sometimes you just want to go in and be like, just be who you are. It does not matter. You do not have to do the same thing. You don't have to follow this crowd, but it's just part of growing up, just trying on those different things and being able to laugh at yourself and laugh with gusto. That is so important.
It is.
So can I ask you then, what are some things that inspired you to write this poem? Like part of it, things in your life that spoke to you that made you go, I need to write this down. I need to commit this to paper.
I think having our conversation, our lives are parallel in a lot of ways. I had an older sibling, I said that earlier, who excelled at everything. She was very graceful. Her name is Grace. Oh. And so she was very graceful, and I was the total opposite. I literally made mud pies. She would try to make mud pies but use forks.
Oh, wow.
And why would you use a fork to make a mud pie? And so here I am. I would wear the mud pie. And it would be all over me, and my mother would just be so upset with me because I was definitely not ladylike. And my mother would try to just get me to conform, and I was just like, no. And I would run with the wind and let dandelions be in my hair, and it just sent her to another place. And so when reading your book and listening to your story, it was the same thing. And so your book actually inspired this because it's just about learning to like yourself. Mm-hmm. And that it's a journey. It's not something that you wake up automatically being able to do, that you have to try on a lot of different clothes,
right,
like we just said, and know that when one doesn't fit, okay, I'm going to take it off. I'm not going to keep it on to be popular or be in the in crowd. I'm going to keep flailing and doing my karate kicks because that feels good to me. And that's where we want everybody to be. I think the world would be a better place if we took care of self and didn't try to worry so much on what the image tells us to do.
That's so true. And love yourself in the moment, not 10 years down the road, what you want to become, and love that version of yourself and dislike where you are now. I think, the thing that I love about this poem is it is all about the journey. There's so much imagery in here and so many words in here about movement, skipping, running, humming, snapping, almost like a dance, Yeah. And that's what life is. It is this journey that every step of the way you have to stop and be like, where am I right now?
Right.
And am I being my best self? Am I being the person that I want to be right now? And learn to love that version of yourself in that moment.
What an engaging conversation between our poet Rachel and our author Brooks. It just makes us want to read more. To read Brooks's book, My 7th Grade Life in Tights, ask for it the next time you visit the Chattanooga Public Library. So, what theme did you pick up on during Brooks and Rachel's conversation? From the excerpt that Brooks shared, it is clear that Dillon's dance moves weren't right, according to the dance teachers and to his friends, but they were perfectly right for him. Rachel's poem speaks to the importance of being free and living unapologetically. She said, laugh until your belly hurts. Tears of joy are hydration for the soul. And she summed up the theme so beautifully in stating, it is better to be happy than to be popular. Life is a dance. You can flail a little bit. It's a beautiful journey that ebbs and flows, and you should welcome each and every moment. So let's write about it. Send what you create to raiseyourvoice at WTCITV.org. Now let's get to writing. I can't wait to see what you create when you raise your voice.